Next question is, I'm new to wholesaling. What's the very first step you would take if starting from zero? All right, new to wholesaling, very first step you would take if you're starting from zero. Honestly, it all depends where you're at in your life. It all has to depend on the time you have, the family dynamic you have, like you have a lot of kids, you already have a job. It all depends. So when I first started wholesaling, I didn't have any kids. I was married and I had a safety net. Like if I wasn't able to do a deal in 2 or 3 months, my wife had a job. So I was in a situation where I could go out and fail and hustle. And if it didn't work out, we'd be financially safe, right? Not everyone's in that situation, right? And I was able to do it full time. Now, if you have the time and you don't have money, then there's a lot of different strategies. You can JV, you can wholesale, co-wholesale, you can knock doors like for pre-foreclosures. You can do outbound marketing, right? You go and find the leads. That is specifically, I would recommend to do if you have time, but you don't have any money for marketing. Now, if you have a family and you have a job, but you do not have the time to go hustle to find leads, then I don't recommend that with starting out. What I would recommend is starting out, paying for leads, generating leads, and then with those leads, you make offers to sellers, you do the pre-flip method that we teach, and what we do at Payne Flipping is we help people that have jobs and they're busy to deal with those leads and then make sure they're not wasting their money, to partner with people on deals and help them out through that process. So it depends where you're at in your journey. If you have time, but no money, you're going to have to hustle. You're going to have to JV, co-wholesale. You're going to have to go find leads. And if you have money, but you have no time, then you need to do pay-per lead. You need to do direct to seller, inbound leads, right? So because you don't have the money to hustle to get those leads. And you need to partner with someone like me or get someone in your corner. So when you spend that money, you're not wasting that money. All right, next question is, how do you actually find motivated sellers without spending a lot of money? There's tons of ways. One of my favorite ways to find motivated sellers without actually having to talk to a seller is through JVing, co-wholesaling. That means you never have to talk to a seller, but you're working with wholesalers that have motivated sellers because they're trying to find a cash buyer for that deal. So that's one of my favorite ways. It doesn't cost you any money. Knocking doors, pre-foreclosures, trying to reach out to people that are in pre-foreclosure and offering them options to get out of pre-foreclosure, and then offering to purchase their home if that's one of the options they want to pursue. I like to work with real estate agents. There's a lot of deals that you can get on the MLS that are free. So there's direct to seller, and that's like through hustle and grinding, calling lists that are stacked, that are motivated. Let me give you another list, like vacant, tired landlords, high equity. Like if you were to call that and that list in a very specific area, you'd be able to find someone that wants to sell because that's a pretty motivated list right there that's stacked up. That's how you could find deals with no money. Direct to seller with a stacked list. You can do direct to agent or direct to wholesaler. I prefer direct to wholesaler just because those people are already motivated and you just have to do one piece of the puzzle and find the buyer. How do you know if a deal is actually profitable before sending it to a buyer? So this is interesting. So there are formulas, right? You can run the numbers. I have something called the Painless Offer Calculator, which pretty much gives you the metrics and the numbers that you need to plug in to see if a deal is a deal, right? And there's just like the baseline that everyone's heard of, the max allowable offer, right? Like 70% of ARV minus your rehab, minus your wholesale fee is what to offer. The issue with that, and we've talked about it if you watch my previous videos, is you're guessing what the ARV is. You don't really know what a buyer would think and know or believe that the ARV is. You're also guessing what a rehab is because a rehab is different for every buyer. And also your wholesale fee can fluctuate. Like a lot of wholesalers try to make like tons of money on their wholesale fees. And for that reason, when they ask people to buy their properties, nobody wants them because they're way off. So how do you know if a deal is profitable before sending it to a buyer? The only way that I would tell you like, hey, this is a deal is if you have it at such a deep discount that like it's unbelievable and you would buy it yourself. That would be what I would suggest. Like, this is a no-brainer. And no-brainers are like 50% of Zillow minus your rehab budget in a healthy rehab budget, not something that's like conservative and a wholesale fee, right? That's the issue with that question is like, how do you know? Well, obviously, if you're sending it, asking a buyer to buy something for cash and it's like at Zillow price, obviously you don't have a deal. It's easier to know when you don't have a deal because you can just see that it's like there's really no margin, right? there's no spread. But when you can get the number down quite a bit, right? If you can negotiate it down, but not like drastically where it just makes like it's a no-brainer deal, that's where it gets kind of iffy because it just depends on the buyer. So my thing is like, you need to know buyers in your market. You need to build relationships so you can gradually ask them and you can get their feedback on what they think. And then you're going to know, because it really just depends on who you're talking to, right? Depends on the type of buyers. So that's how you can actually know if a deal's profitable, is by asking the people who are buying it. The pre-flipping method. How do you decide whether to walk away from a bad deal? That's a good question. So pretty easy. Like if you can't find a buyer for it and it's just not worth your time or it's not making sense, then yeah, you walk away. Or if you're going to buy a house and the seller is hard to work with, sometimes it's not even worth it, right? The headache and the issues you're going to have. So for me, it's like, okay, is the seller worth working with? And wholesaling is pretty simple because it's like, I can find a buyer and I'm not buying it, right? I'm not going to take on the problem. So is it worth it for them? I'm going to let them decide. So for me, I only really walk away if I don't think I can help the person. And again, I walk away if I don't think it's a deal, or buyers will tell me it's not a deal after I try to dispo it. I'm trying to start wholesaling while working a full-time job. How do you manage time without burning out? So you have to have the right process and system in place. So like if you are trying to work a full-time job, have a family, and generate leads yourself by cold calling, texting, doing outbound marketing, good luck. I don't think that's going to be sustainable for anyone that has like a normal life. But if you work with the right lead sources, like if you do mail, or if you do, I don't really recommend mail. I'm just saying mail because it's inbound, right? People will call you back. Mail, pay-per-click, pay-per-lead, then you are able to determine when you can work, right? You can pause campaigns. You can decide, especially with pay-per-lead, when you want leads to come in. You can turn stuff off. That's how you would be able to work with a full-time job. The lead source has to be inbound, and you have to be able to know how to have those conversations with sellers so you're just not wasting your money. If you try to do wholesaling and, do it all yourself with the outbound strategy, whether that's like talking to real estate agents, whether it's, cold wholesaling, JVing, it works, right? But you just have to be able to have your life dialed in the sense where you can time block it, because it's not going to be successful and you're not going to be able to manage your time without burning out, like the question says, without having your schedule dialed in. That's why I think time blocking, scheduling, being really intentional with how you use your time is the only way to do it. Or you're just going to maybe do one deal and then quit, or do 2 deals and not be able to make it sustainable and consistent. So I'll answer that real quick. So if you have a job, you need to make sure you have the right lead strategy that's going to generate the right leads. And if you're not going to pay for leads and you're not confident in closing them, and you want to do direct to wholesaler, direct to agent and generate leads, even if you want to get leads direct to seller by, reaching out to lists, you have to be able to time block it. You have to consistently do it at a specific time every day, at a certain time every week, or it's just not going to work. And that's with anything in life. Like if you want to be a jiu-jitsu wrestling star, for example, or best swimmer in the world, like if you don't set aside time to do it, you're going to get excited about it for a couple weeks, maybe a month, a couple months, and then it's going to fizzle out. You have to be able to section off that time. So, and I'm really passionate about like goal setting and scheduling time and using my time wisely and intentionally. So got to be really good at time blocking. My family doesn't really understand wholesaling and thinks it's risky. How do you deal with that pressure? All right. So your family doesn't really understand wholesaling and thinks it's risky. How do you deal with that pressure? So the thing is, you got to make sure, especially if like you're married, that your wife or whoever your significant other is, that they support you, because this is going to be hard business to do without support. Any business will, right? So try your best to explain what's going on. And this is kind of what happened when I first started. I started wholesaling and I wasn't able to explain what I was doing very well. So my family would grill me. They weren't mean, but they're basically like, hey, you don't really even understand how to explain it yet. And I'm like, yeah, because I just started. It takes time. So just understand that like when you first start going, that people are going to poke fun, or they're going to press on you and say, oh, you don't even know what you're doing. But as you stay consistent and as you learn, like they're going to get behind you. Most people aren't going to jump on the bandwagon and say, yeah, you got this. like other than like hopefully your family, but your wife, your significant other, they should support you. And if you don't have that, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough because there's gonna be ups and downs in this business. With this business, if I didn't have my wife to support me, oof, I don't think I could have done it because there were so many ups and downs and issues. Like I had to go to court. I didn't do anything wrong, but the seller wouldn't leave the house after we bought it. I had to deal with a lot of things. And if I didn't have a supportive wife, ooh, it would have been really, really tough to deal with the situations that I had to deal with. Extended family outside of like your immediate spouse or significant other, like they're going to question, and no matter what, when you're new and doing something and trying to tell people that you're going to crush it and you conquer the world, they're going to be doubters and people that don't believe and haters, but keep it going, be consistent. And but you do need to make sure that your immediate circle support you and respect what you're doing and will help you, because there's going to be ups and downs. Now there's probably some people that are hearing this and are like, nah, I don't need people to validate me, even in my spouse. But for me, like, build the life of my dreams because I've had my spouse on my side. If she was like, no, I don't want you to do this, I wouldn't have done it. I would have found something else to do that she could support, because I think it's important to be a part of a team and to be unified and be one, to be equally yoked. So hopefully that answers the question of, if your family doesn't support, how do you deal with the pressure? Don't really worry about what the extended family says. They'll support you when they start seeing you get checks and you start doing well. But everybody will be pretty much that's outside looking and will be cautious or apprehensive to like praise you and say, yes, you got this, other than the immediate support that you have. So hopefully that helps and answers that question. What's the safest way to avoid losing money on a bad deal? Welcome to wholesaling. That's the best way to avoid losing money on a bad deal, is because you never buy the house. You just sell the paper, right? You flip the contract. You make money off of the assignment fee. So that is literally the safest way to do this business. I know, because I've lost a ton of money flipping houses. You know, I would buy houses, especially during the pandemic. I was buying houses because they were selling good, selling fast when you flipped them. But as soon as the interest rates went up, we got squashed and we lost a ton of money. So yeah, flipping, although you can make good money, you know, it can be dangerous. So with wholesaling, there's really no risk. The main risk is your time and the money that you spend on marketing, but there's really no risk in a bad deal, because if it's a bad deal, no one will buy it. So that's why I love wholesaling, is because it's a great way to get started. It's a great extra strategy to have in your back pocket. If you are a flipper or an agent or anyone involved in real estate, you need to know how to wholesale. Hope these way I answer these questions were helpful. Love everybody out there. Hope that this information I'm giving you is helpful, and my desire is that you guys all succeed, and hopefully I can be a little bit help you a little bit out in your journey to succeed and get to where you want to go. Remember this, I'll say one last thing. It is more blessed to give than to receive. So whenever you're talking to a seller or you're talking to a friend or anyone, it's more blessed, it's better to give than to receive and always want stuff. And once you can change that mentality of a scarcity mentality to have an abundance mentality, where you're like, yo, there's enough for everybody, you're gonna do more deals. You're gonna JV more deals. You're gonna wholesale more deals. You're gonna collaborate with sellers more. You're gonna be able to do better deals and more deals if you look at what you can give than what you can receive. Yes, of course you can make a big fee off of the seller, for example, but maybe you give them a little bit more than normal, right? And it comes back, you know, tenfold, and they give you a couple friends. So anyway, that's what I wanted to tell you guys. I hope you're doing well. And if you like this video, check out the next one on the next screen right here. See you guys later.